Today's guided meditation is called No Self, No Problem. And that quote is quite a popular one and is the title of a book by a scientist and a philosopher called Niebauer. And one of his favorite quotes is a quote by another philosopher, Wei Wu Wei. And the quote is this: "Why are you unhappy? Because 99.9% of everything you think and everything you do is for yourself, and there isn't one. Why are you unhappy? Because 99.9% of everything you think and of everything you do is for yourself, and there isn't one." So that seems like a very radical idea, because if there's one thing we all seem to be sure about is our sense of self, our sense of who we are. So how can it be possible our self isn't quite what we think of it to be? And that's something that we'll explore today. So to help us with our exploration, let's set that all aside. Just begin by getting ourselves nice and cozy and comfortable for our meditation practice. To give your body a stretch, your facial muscles, with your jaw. When stretching your neck, take it easy, maybe nodding up and down to start with to stretch the back of the neck, and then turning slowly to the left and right. You really go down to your shoulders and give them a little roll, gently pushing them back and down. Ultimately, open up your chest, stretching out your arms and hands. Back, stretching or adjusting your legs so they are in a good position for your meditation. Let's invite a few slow, deep in and out breaths. See if you can feel your breath around the tip of your nose. And now noticing if you can feel it, the back of your nose or the back of your throat. All air entering your body. Noticing if you can feel your chest expanding as you breathe in and out. And then lower down, See if you can feel your belly expanding, the lower sides of your body. If you're really mindful, maybe you can feel some movement in your lower back as you breathe in and out. Letting your breath naturally find its own rhythm. Feeling your breath wherever it's most strongly felt for you, wherever it's predominant. As you're feeling your breathing, and of course you'll go back and forth to your thoughts and come back to your breath. But as you're feeling the sensation of your breathing, you'll notice that all there is the rhythm of the breath. It's all there is lit up in consciousness. The sense of a me or an I doing the breathing only arises when you think about it. When you're feeling the breath, all there is in the world for you is just the breath. If you're feeling the breath and there is a sense of you doing it, then that's two things you're aware of. But when you return attention to breathing, there is just that. See if you can notice that. The idea, I am breathing, is just that, a thought. You don't have that thought at night time when you're sleeping. You don't even have that thought most of the time during the day when you're working or cooking or doing something. There's no awareness of the breath just happening. Let's try this approach with the body as a whole. Feel all the sensations in the body. Feeling it with kindness and compassion. getting a sense of all the sensations in your body at once, which isn't so easy, but a challenge for your mind, for your brain. So there's the sensations in the body, and that's all there is in consciousness. There is a sense of I am feeling my body. That's a thought, a series of words. And those words come along and they drop away. Even explore the expression on your face, whatever it happens to be right now. So you can feel the sensations in your face. You are fully present with those sensations. That's all there is. Facial expression, facial sensations. And then there's the thought. This is my expression, or this is how I am feeling. It's an afterthought. You can expand out to you can expand out to listening. Notice all the sounds around you. Letting go of the idea of good or bad sounds. Just let them all come. Let them all be registered. These are all different sounds, and we label them as sounds that are near and sounds that are far away, but they're all just sounds. Sounds in awareness, in consciousness. Then add this idea on top that I am listening, which is just a thought. We didn't design our ear, or we didn't design all the connections to our brain. We didn't even design our brain. It's just here. And listening is just happening without any effort. And you may notice that there's a freedom when we're willing to just put aside this idea of a center, a me that is doing things all the time. This idea that listening is just happening. Bodily sensations are just arising. And even thoughts are just coming and going in consciousness. I'll finish by reading a section of an article called Eastern Philosophy Says There's No Self and Science Agrees. Eastern View. The self is an illusion. Let's turn to the East. Buddhism, Taoism, the Advaita Vedanta school of Hinduism, and other schools of Eastern thought have quite a different take on the self compared to the West, the ego or me. They say that this idea of me is a fiction, although a very convincing one. Buddhism has a word for this concept, anatta, which is often translated as no self, which is one of the most fundamental tenets of Buddhism, if not the most important. The idea sounds radical, even nonsensical, to those who are trained in Western traditions. It seems to contradict our everyday experience, indeed our whole sense of being. But in Buddhism and other schools of Eastern thought, the concept of the self is seen as a result of the thinking mind. The thinking mind reinvents the self from moment to moment, such that it in no way resembles the stable, coherent self most believe it to be. But another way, it is the process of thinking that creates the self, rather than there being a self having any independent existence, separate from thought. The self is more like a verb than a noun. To take it a step further, the implication is that without thought, the self does not in fact exist. In the same way that walking only exists when one is walking, the self only exists when there are thoughts about it. As a neuropsychologist, I can say that in my view, science is just now catching up with Buddhist Taoist and Advaita Vedanta Hinduism that have been teaching this for over 2,500 years. So you may want to quietly reflect on these ideas, perhaps not with so much thinking, but resting in the awareness, that part of you that is even beyond thinking. As we come towards the end of today's meditation, you may want to reground yourself with your breath. And reflect on what you're grateful for in this moment. So much for joining us.